Hi, we got a new layout. We kind of rearranged the room. It's what I've been doing. I know I'm here early, and this is starting early, but I think when people show up, they don't know that I started early when they watch it later. And today is going to be weight loss part 2. And as you can see now, you can see my garden all the time. It's right over here to one side, and I don't have to tilt cameras up and down, and it's great fun. It's great fun. I spent the last few days working this out. Faye, thank you for being here. And Kathy G, hi. In case you didn't hear the first part, I've rearranged my office so now I can have the chat big enough for me to be able to read it. It's so exciting. And I've got my garden permanently set up on a camera over here, and I've got me on a camera here so I can look at you, because I've been playing with this for 2 days, and every time I'd set the cameras up, hi Skywalking, do you like my thing? I know you have people that help you, but aliens and things that help you, but I have nothing. So every time I set a camera, I'd have to run around, turn everything on, see if the camera worked right. I'm so excited because when I have this set up this way in Zoom, I can switch between the cameras, and it means I don't have to move cameras up and down and make people nauseous. Anyway, today is, yes, so you know what's sad about all this, Faye? I have a degree in broadcast film. I go back to television when, remember the old days, in the 60s and 70s when they had cameras that were the size of a small Volkswagen. That's the kind of camera I learned to film on, and I learned to shoot with, and then I learned how to edit film, like running it real, like the old-fashioned movies where you see them where they're running the reels and they're timing everything up. I learned how to do all that, and I swear to God, trying to do this stuff electronically, I know it should be so much easier, but it's not. Hi, Mo. I saw your note to me. I didn't get a whole lot of responses from people about questions they had about weight loss, so I just went ahead and kind of decided I'd run it sort of like a daily reading. We're going to start with the crystal of the day. Sharon, the Dragon Slayer, or Troll Slayers. Trolls, we don't got dragons. I'm going to start with my card of the day, and today that card is citrine. I'm going to hold it so. And citrine is a wonderful stone. I use this stone a lot in my grids because it has to do with manifestation and abundance, but it is also a stone of purification. It assists in manifesting wealth and abundance. It shifts old patterns away from negativity, and boy, do we need that now, because everybody seems to me right now, I'm feeling us being drawn back towards the negative, and I don't like that at all. And it brings out the joy and magic in life, and I really needed that this morning. I had a nightmare last night. I will not bore you with it, but I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who said, no, what you saw is not going to happen. So I'm like so excited because what I saw was going to happen was really crappy. Okay, questions I got. Someone asked me if I'd ever done the blood type diet. And no, I remember reading something about it, and I'm O positive, and I didn't get a lot out of it, or either that or I really didn't like the foods they let you eat. That got 2 answers to this, okay? The other thing I've done is, in the notes today, I have included below a whole lot of links to people that I think, nobody's told me how many of you have started to try and do this, so I have no real way of knowing that. But, hi Marge. But what I found is that these are some people I like, and I have notes about all of them below in the description. But there's a woman, and she's a PhD in nutrition, and her name is Dr. Becky Gillaspy, Gillaspy, and I really like her stuff because she's not just keto, she's also really strong and low carb. And one of the shows that I'd seen that she'd had in the last couple of months that I thought was really great was menopause and weight gain, and how that's not just a myth that we're going to have some menopause and weight gain, but how we can handle it, and a lot of how to do it with let me finish about her, and then I'll go into fake citrine. But she did a really good thing on menopause and weight gain, which I'm not sure will interest John all that much unless he's close to someone who's going through it. But she has a lot of really good ideas on dietary changes that you need to make if you're starting to have menopausal problems, especially the sleep part of it. And that's a real good show. Her shows are quick. They're less than 10, 15 minutes each. They're very specific. But she did a really good one on low carb versus keto, and she has a lot of free things you can click on and find and download to PDFs that can help you. And I like to see people do that because I hate to think that people are going to have to go buy books all the time and stuff. But one book I would recommend, if you get one book on keto, it's the best of any of the stuff I ran across when I was learning how to deal with this. And it's Dr. Eric Berg, B-E-R-G. And the book I like is The Healthy Keto Plan. Now, this book contains a quiz. And it talks about how you gain weight, how food affects you and stuff. Because there's really not just one keto. There's a lot of different ketos. Oh, John, yeah, I understand you're eating healthier. Oh, I'll answer John's thing about citrine. The only way you can know about citrine is to know the store you're buying your citrine from. You're right. A lot of citrine is related to amethyst. And what do they do to make a lot of fake kind of citrine is they bake amethyst and they make it turn gold or brown. And it's fake. I mean, it's not fake. They're not chemically altering the molecules. They're not rearranging the molecules of the stone. But yeah, I'll do another show soon on fake stones because so that's the best I can give you about that, Jonathan. Just know who you're buying your stones from. That would help. Okay, about Berg. I'd been reading Berg, and I'd been following a very traditional, 14 days, try this, 21 days, try that. I was losing weight. I had no problem with losing weight. But when I read his book, and then when I took his quiz, I realized I gained weight in a very different way. And I'm what they call an adrenal type of weight gain, which means that I really, really, really respond to cortisol. I put myself under pressure, my weight loss is going to stop. So it got really important for me to meditate and get more quiet. And also, the other thing, and this is what made me love this man's book, I am not an innate exerciser. Like, I would be happy being a mushroom, I think. So, in his thing, he said, and if you're an adrenal weight loss person, in the beginning stages, don't go out and try to exercise a lot or lift a lot of weights or do anything in a high intensity, because if you're an adrenal weight loss person, that is putting your body under a lot of cortisol stress, and so it's going to stop your weight loss. So as soon as I quit trying to go do some stuff I was doing at the time, I was parking further in the parking lot and walking and stuff like that, and I just went back to my more normal activity level, my weight gain speeded up. Now, you do reach a point where you have to move your butt or you're not going to lose it. But before that, there is that period of time. So, and then there are people who are hormonal weight people, and you can actually tell by how their bodies are configured. I had a daughter-in-law who lost a lot of weight. She loved to exercise, but this girl had thighs like I've never seen in my life, and she had really big arms. I never had really big arms, and my legs never got very heavy. And that's an adrenal sort of person. I'm kind of all chubby in the middle. And so she could exercise, and that really helped her. But if I'd exercised the way she exercised, it would have stressed my body out. It would have slowed my weight loss. But that happens to be my personal journey with this part of his book. You need to, if it's a good book to have, it's a good handbook to have. It really talks about a lot of topics. There's about a third of the book that's nothing but definitions you're going to need to learn about, macros and all these different things that if you're starting to look into keto, you're learning about. And it's very helpful to have that around. Then there's another guy I really, really like, and his name is Ken Berry. He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. He is in Tennessee, And he is a kind of good old boy doctor, but he has single-handedly, almost, with little help from his friends, taken on a whole lot of the medical profession about how they are handling things, because he was overweight and he was dying, and they could never get, he'd eat the standard American diet, and it just got worse. And he's the one who just came out flat out and said, they're lying to us. And there's a condition called hyperinsulinemia, which means you got way too much insulin in your body, and it's caused by your diet. And he was very angry at the Diabetes Association. Now, people who are a type 1 diabetes, you don't have a whole lot of choice about it. You don't have, your pancreas doesn't function properly. Type 2 diabetics actually can control. And my doctor, I know, works with people and gets their type 2 diabetes under control without medication. And there's a lot of doctors who do that. And Ken has taken it on. He goes to the big medical conventions and says, "What are you doing to us?" Now, of course, you got to understand, the big medical schools, a lot of them are underwritten by people who create our food sources. And so, it's like, do you want to shoot the golden calf or not? But he's like, let's shoot the golden calf. Anyway, he brought his own weight down. He's brought a lot of other people's weight down. And he's very, very good. The other things I've been doing, you're going to hear about something if you go into the world of keto very long, and you can hear about it if you listen to Joe Dispenza. He talks about epigenetics. There have been a lot of other spiritual healers that talk about epigenetics. And what epigenetics is you're born with the DNA you have, but that doesn't mean you can't kind of go in and tinker with it. We're not going to CRISPR our DNA. But there are ways you can balance your food and balance your diet to trigger off your DNA to respond better to the world. And it's called epigenetics because you're inspiring genetics to work differently. And this is fascinating. And if you don't go to another link on this thing, go to this one. Epigenetics, a look at reversing age by diet and lifestyle. And it was done by Thomas DeLaurer, talked about it. And what he talks about is they took a whole series of people who had different kinds of diets, different kinds of weight problems, put them on a specific diets and some other lifestyle changes, drank a lot of green tea. I mean, there's just a whole lot of things that you have to go listen to it because there's not one silver bullet in this. But they think it was primarily diet. Anyway, after being on this less than a year, these people reversed markers in their genes by 2.5 years, aging markers. And to me, that's incredible because I know my doctor keeps saying you're aging backwards, but we'll see. And Sharon's saying for everyone to please thumbs up this, please do, because I got a lot of views on my last weight loss show. Other places and other things I've been doing. I've been looking around at other stories about weight loss and how people live and lifestyle changes. And I tripped across a YouTube channel called Tonic. Tonic like tonic water, or like tonic like get better. And in there, they had a series called The Art of Living. And what it is, he's a Swedish chef who's gone all around the world to the places where people live to be more than 100, like in Costa Rica and in a place in Japan. And the one I put the link to below. Hi, Anna Banana. You're not late. You're here exactly when you need to hear what you need to hear. And in this show, he went to a little island called Icaria. I think it's Icaria. And it's the most isolated island in the Greek sets of islands that are off that country. And there's no cars in the island. It's all motor scooters, and it seems so idyllic. And the woman who was sort of his guide on the island, she's a little bit younger than I am, but she grew up in Michigan. She grew up in a Greek family, and she started visiting there when she was younger, and she decided to move there. You really need to see how these people live. They live cooperatively. They don't live competitively. They make their own wine. They make their own food. They can just go harvest a lot of the foods and greens and things they need off the sides of the hills. They eat a lot of goat, so if you're vegetarian, there is that part of it. But it was fascinating. And then at the very end, they were talking about how the island had become populated, and because it was so far out from the main part of Greece, it ended up being sort of the Australia for Greece. It's where they took all the people from different areas that didn't fit in, and they threw them on this island. So instead of being all the worst of the worst and them beating each other up, what they've created is an incredibly cooperative society where everyone helps everyone else. So it's really an interesting documentary. This is stuff I do when I'm not talking to y'all, is watching stuff like that. So, I haven't gotten much response from people telling me they were starting doing keto. I did have some people comment on tapping. And they said, you know, the first day it worked great, and then the next day it wasn't as good. But the ones who kept doing it found out by about 6 or 7 days in, whatever they were working on with tapping really did kind of work. From my perspective, there's something you need. What I like about keto is it's not just measuring calories and stuff, but you're going to hear about measuring your carbs and picking your macros. You can go in and find some free apps. If you got a smartphone, and probably anybody who's smart enough to get on YouTube has a smartphone, you can calculate your carbs. And that's what I think is the other part that's helped me with keto so much, is if you can measure it, you can manage it. So when I know when I'm screwing up with my ketones, when I'm screwing up with my macros being carbs, fats, and proteins, I know it. And like recently I've gained 4 pounds, not because of what I was eating, but because I took a medicine that is not really great for having you lose weight. I took some steroids. Well, you know, Gina said she wrote down what reasons I was eating, and that was it so far. Yeah, when I started really doing my inventory on why I was eating and thinking about the words people were saying to me, I realized that that made me kind of queasy too. And I don't know if you caught a legitimate bug, but you know, stripping yourself down kind of opens you up to that. Gluten-free, grain-free. Any pointers on that diet? Yeah, it's called no, is it Whole30? Does it? Go to. That's why I put her thing on here. Go to Becky Gillaspy's site. She has all kinds of special eating things. She has keto for vegans. She has a lot of different options. So if you go and you look in their stuff and you go in the top and just type in what you want to know. And I'm glad you're doing it, Sin, because you'll learn a lot. I did gluten-free with my daughter. We did paleo, and we did gluten-free. And before I did keto, and it really helped my body adjust to be able to switch over to keto. That's the other thing they talk about, is taking it gradually and doing what you can do. But for the woman, for Jean M., who was having the problems, I was sitting there and I was thinking, you know, I'm back on these stupid huffers. I'm taking these steroids so I can breathe. Oh, good. I'm glad Gina M is getting perkier. But I realized I know about my self-talk about my weight, and I know about my self-talk about my eating, and I know my self-talk about certain things I do achieve and don't achieve in my life. But I caught myself 3 or 4 times this week talking about how I've had these bad lungs. Well, now I don't. I say, no, I had a problem with my lungs and they're healed. And as soon as took about a day and a half, but as soon as I started changing to that mindset, I haven't had to use the steroids. It takes 7 days for them to get out of my system. But I'm working towards it. Yeah, gluten-free helps, grain-free helps. Yeah. That'll help you a whole lot. Let's see. The other thing, I've been working on some other stuff. I'm going to do a reading a day with the garden, and I'm going to do it in conjunction with another reader who's going to read cards. He's going to read the cards. I'm going to read the garden. We're hoping to get that up sometime around Thanksgiving. And so that's why I was working also to get a place where my garden shows up adequately so that people can really see what's going on. And since the garden was out, I rolled for today for the community. That's part of what we're doing today. And this is what I got. And the key that stuck out to me was the solar plexus. And in the solar plexus, I got the mind. And this says you can power through whatever you want most easily at this time. So I thought that was my key in reading the garden. Warrior girl, you're right about keying up your mind and doing it right. Then I went on and I read body because it was between two spaces. And the body, when it lands here, is you're coming, that you need to get grounded because new things are moving in, changes are coming, and you need to be grounded to be able to accept them. And then clarity was in fire, and it's completely in fire, and it says, learn from all your past experiences. And then my favorite spot on the board is really still the tree of life. And in that I had the grounding stone pyrite and the spirit stone, and it says grounding. Don't be fooled. Remember the lessons you've learned. Don't let yourself get drawn back into old lessons. And this stone here reminds us that today actions without spirit are useless. And I think that's what we've been talking about, or at least what I've been trying to talk about, is we have to combine all those things and pull ourselves forward, but stay grounded on the earth right now. And that's all important to each and every one of us. Oh, the other thing I'm working on, and I'm real excited about this, Danny Shea and I are going to do a series on learning how to use pendulum dowsing, and we've taken old plans and old numbers, but we've put them in a way I'll be able to create. I've created PDFs you'll be able to download to work along with us. But he and I are going to keep a dowsing diary. And somebody has wrote something kind of disturbing. I'll have to answer that. And what you do is when you're feeling really good and you've had a good meditation, or you've had a good reading, you've been doing a lot of stuff, you move along and you use the dowsing tools to see them. Then Danny said one day he was feeling great all day and his vibes it tells you your frequency. It actually comes up with a numerical value for your frequency using dowsing. It's really interesting. So he was recording it, and then he watched the news. That does not increase your frequency. Let me tell you. I mean, that takes you right down to the below 200, and it takes above 200 is courage. It's 2 or 400. It's courage. Like I said, I'm learning this. And so we're each going to keep kind of a dowsing diary. We're going to talk about how to use that to monitor ourselves and to kind of move forward with that. So when I was gone for a week, I wasn't just drinking margaritas by the pool. I was doing stuff. Yo-yo dieting is a real problem. And Callie said, whoever said, I just saw fat, sick, and almost dead. I was fat, sick, and almost dead, and I'm not now. So, work on it. Give yourself some grace. I mean, yeah, I was morbidly obese for 30 years. If you saw the little photo that shows up with that first reading, that little fat face is mine. And believe me, when you got below the neck, it didn't get a bit better. What I'm going to try to do to clear my lungs is not reaffirm in my brain that there's anything wrong with my lungs. My lungs are clear and they're working just fine today, and I'm grateful for that. That's a huge gratitude for me to feel that way. Does anybody have a specific question they wanted to ask? Inflammation due to colitis, calm down. Teresa, I'd go look at Ken Berry's videos, because he talks a lot about internal diseases, and he's a medical doctor, and I think he's a good one. So I'd go in and I'd type in his, hunt my shows and look for colitis or other inflammation. I have a friend who just got over colitis, and her birthday's on the 26th, and we may be able to do a Zoom call with her. I've known her since we were 3 years old. Yes, CoQ10 is very helpful for heart and lungs. And Ken and Eric Berg is really good too for talking about supplements. I think he brings a lot of the science into it. I don't think he's making it up off the top of his head. And Thomas DeLaurer also. He does a lot of studies. Yes, Mo, I do every morning. And when I first did this, I thought, gag, I'm never going to make this. But I make a full 8 ounces of water, cold water. I squeeze a part of a lemon in it and throw in some apple cider vinegar. I don't put in artificial sweetener. That doesn't help it at all. But once you get used to it and once you see what happens. Carolyn got her grid. Woohoo! Yeah, I got another note from someone who got their grid today too. I think I would go to a store if there's one near you, if you go to stores that's near you that you trust. I shop a lot on Amazon, and I found some things where it worked, and then I found some things where it didn't work. Manuka honey is very good, and I do know they sell that at Costco. Last time I was in Costco, they had it. Yeah, tapping is really quick. You can do it a couple times a day. You can do it once a day. I do it before I go to bed. The first night I did it, and I was like, I got to practice what I preach. I did it, and I laid down, and I slept for 8.5 hours, which is really good for me because my guides have been bugging the crap out of me. And cinnamon, if you want to put a little bit of cinnamon in your early morning coffee, tea, or whatever you drink in the morning, it actually helps your body metabolize and eliminate insulin needs. That's a really good one. And it's cinnamon, and then as much as you can figure, any place you can figure that you can throw turmeric in, it will help with inflammation. I had a friend who always had acid reflux. She had it and she was visiting me a couple of years ago, and I said, here, try this. And she tasted, she said, that's got acid in it. I said, try it. And she now swears by it, and she's was a forensic scientist. She said it really helps her acid reflux in her stomach because it boosts the acidity enough so that your stomach doesn't think it has to work overtime making more than you need. That's what they tell me. I am not a medical doctor, nor did I even ever play one on TV. My father was a doctor, but genetics does not give you the degree. No, not at all. And if anybody else, if you don't have a question, I'm going to kind of pull one more card for our collective out of my flower cards. And see what the message for everyone is today. I will be back, and I'm planning to try and do it on Thursdays. Now I won't do a show on Thanksgiving Day, nor will I do one on the Friday after. Yes, I think there is a factor. It's called the 10% bounce. Every time you go through a diet, that's why in my first show I talked about all the times I dieted. Every time I haven't tried black seed oil. Every time I lost weight, when I finally started gaining weight back again, it bounced back. So if I were to really just say, oh, screw it all, this is useless, I'll never lose another pound, I can't hold on to my weight, I would bounce back up to somewhere between 330 and 340, which is not a good look. Any good product for colitis called... Oh, another good product for colitis is a product called I don't know how to say that. It helps with IBS. Yeah, go online and look. Hi, Cardamancy in Mesquite. Are you in my Mesquite? Are you in like Mesquite that's just east of Dallas? Or are you like just Mesquite because you live near some? Lots of Mesquite in Texas. It's a probiotic. Yeah, I've started doing some probiotics too, because one of the problems you will have when you're messing around with your diet and you're finding out what works for you, you will have days when, okay, I eat little things, they're called flackers, and they're little flaxseed crackers, and they keep you regularly, and they keep you very regular. Hi, Carmela. Ah, yes, you are. This woman is just east of me in Mesquite. How'd you like the storms the other night? They were lots of fun. We had really bad storms. But I had flackers, and they're like little, they look like little crackers you put out and put cheese on and stuff. And my son, who had just come to stay with me while he was transferring to Maryland, and now I live in his house and he's here, he decided, oh, they're just like little snack crackers. So he ate the bag. And when I came home, I picked the bag up and I went, my God, what happened to my bag of, and I went and found him. And I said, dear, do not get too far from the bathroom. Boy, was that ever the truth. Yeah, magnesium's another thing people don't get nearly enough of. I just had a friend who went through that. That's why I'm saying when you're buying supplements, be careful, because he had been taking magnesium, but he saw a big bottle on super sale at Costco, and he thought, well, I'll go, okay, have a good day, warrior girl. And he got some new magnesium, and it said all of a sudden it helped a lot more. Because, vitamins and those things do have a timeline on them. Okay. This is the card we got. It's Sweet Alyssum. And the vibration of Sweet Alyssum, it brightens the path of understanding so they will open. So the message to us, the closing message from the cards, from the language of flowers, is leave our minds open and let the light shine in, and it will lead us forward. I'm going to be live today at 4 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern, 3 in the Rockies, and at 2 in California. I'm going to be on Heart and Soul Connected. Yeah, magnesium's a great sleep help. Yes, it is, John. And I'm going to be on her station live, and we're going to be talking about fascism and plagues, which I kind of find to be sort of bummer topics, but we're going to be talking about what we went through and how we view it and how we've seen other people view it. Everybody has a very different view of how this is all coming out. So, with that, I send you all blessings. If you have any questions, I'll post when my next thing will be. It'll be next Thursday. I know I will not be reading Thanksgiving Day or the Friday because I'm going to Austin on Friday to take my grandchildren their Christmas. And other than that, I'll just be posting when I'm going to be up. I'm going to be doing other shows in between about other things. Please hit the like and send me lovely, lovely little emojis, because they help. And thank you, Skywalking with Moon. Thank you for being here. Oh, Jane the Seeker. Good. You got 40 more to go. Good. And thank you, Callie Suds. And I will talk at you all. It'll be next Thursday.